Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, what do we have here? We have a country in Europe who wants the investigation on Nord Stream pipelines sabotage to be stopped. Why? They might find something they don't want to be found. So what does it mean? It means that these guys are unfair. They don't want to know the truth. Why? The truth might tell even the baboons something that they should not figure out, which is it was not Russia, it was not even Ukraine blowing up those pipelines, it was someone else. That country is Poland. All right, that's the first topic. Second one, Belarus plays the role of an intermediary between the United States of America and Russia. Mr. Lukashenko, the unrecognized dictator of Belarus, he had some communication with the Americans, and it's going to be a big deal in a few days. And we have their KGB, the top spy, they still call their KGB, like the Soviet Union, reveals details of talks with the US. So the Belarusians are speaking with the Americans, and this top spy is going to tell us part probably of what they spoke and how much he can tell us or wants to tell us. And then the Russians say the Americans have no intention to send Tomahawk missiles. We're going to find out on Friday. And this is an article where the Russians, yesterday the Ukrainians, if I said I apologize, the Russians, talks of sending Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine is calculated Psy-Op to pressure Russia's leadership. All right, now this is an opinion of someone, an assessment. Let's discuss that one. And then if you think this is about Ukraine and the Ukrainian people and what's going on in Ukraine and blah, 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 this is just the Hollywood movie for you. You know, the Schindler's List movie with Spielberg, you know, giving you more shit. Okay, so what's going on over here? Russia and China and India and other countries are going to oppose Al Capone. And how? I'm going to show you. Have you ever heard about the Norton, is that what it is? Arctic shortcut, but it's called Norton Sea Route. I want to make sure I'm proper. I don't want to. Norton Sea Route, you know what it is? Well, I'm going to tell you. These guys, in which is the Russians, together with the Chinese, wants to do maritime commerce with Europe, not through the, you know, go through the South Pacific over there, go under the Indian Ocean, go to the, how do you call it, go to the Mediterranean through the Red Sea, through the Suez Canal, and then go into the Mediterranean and maybe go to the Gibraltar and go to Rotterdam or Great. No, that's long. They always try to go to the Northern Sea route, which is much shorter, more efficient. Money. But that will require to stop at some Russian ports in the meantime. I will show you. This is the same thing as the dollar store. Petrodollar. That's what it is. If the Russians and the Chinese right now are using it, if they succeed in opening and have it run, it's icy. Icy water. That's the problem with the Northern Sea route. It freezes. But Russia has a lot of icebreakers, and they will use them to keep it rolling. If they succeed in doing that, the West will be paralyzed to a certain extent they cannot compete. I will show you. It's not only the Ukrainians, no, the resources, the routes, the commerce, the armament, these are big business. So let's start with the first topic, which is Warsaw, right there. Warsaw demands halt to Nord Stream sabotage probe, according to Financial Times. This is not according to Russians. The Russians just took it and vomited on us. Germany's criminal investigation into the destruction of the pipelines does not serve Poland's interests, according to its national security chief. What do you mean? The investigation does not serve Poland's interest. Why? Because probably they will find out, if the Germans are an Wort, that these guys did it. And that's going to create a big snowball reaction. I'm not saying that the big media and the media operatives will not bark day and night telling you that it was Russia, 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 or the Ukrainians with those 6 men and a woman in that yacht, the Andromeda yacht, they did it with those, let's go and blow it. Nah, no, I believe that not even 1% that happened. So let me show you why these guys say, no, stop the investigation. You might find the truth. Germany is acting against NATO's interests by continuing a criminal investigation. That means they already know it's someone in NATO who did that. Ukraine is not in NATO. All right, interest by continuing a criminal investigation into the Nord Stream pipeline sabotage. Poland's national security chief Sławomir Czenkiewicz has claimed urging Berlin to shut down the probe. Oh my God, it's like a rape occurs, it's an investigation, and a father of a family with a lot of boys in the family comes and say, hey, stop the investigation, man. Runs against my interest. What would you say? Zoom on the guy. And not only. They might find out that Poland helped in a certain way. I think Poland did not do it, but keeps his mouth shut. The Nord Stream pipelines, which carried Russian gas to Germany under the Baltic Sea, were severely damaged by underwater explosions in September 2022. Where was that? Let me show you. Right here. Exactly here. This is the Baltic Sea right here. Baltic states, Poland, Germany, Denmark, and Sweden. Exactly here. And around this little island of whatever it is, Bornholm. Is it what it is or whatever it is? It is. Okay. So here it is, my friends. This is what occurred. That pipeline came from Russia into the Germans right here. From the wherever it came in this area. It didn't come from, how do you call it? Kaliningrad. So, stop it. All right. German prosecutors have attributed the sabotage to a group of 7 Ukrainian nationals who allegedly used a small rented yacht to carry out the attack. Do not believe that one. Czenkiewicz argued that pursuing the case serves Russia's injustice. Why? Maybe the Russians did it. No? Czenkiewicz said that, told Financial Times it was in Poland's interest to protect anyone connected to the operation. That means you did it, your guys. Calling the German probe, and I'm quoting, a clear contradiction in interest between Poland and Germany. He insisted that investigation doesn't make sense, not only in terms of the interest of Poland, but also the whole NATO alliance. So, do you like NATO? Yeah? Do you think they like the truth? No, they're barbarians, my friends, as others. But the problem is with NATO and the European Union, the West, the Anglo-Saxon West, is we are the good ones and they are the bad ones. And you can be the bad one if we say so, just because we say so. All right? So this is Poland for you. Unsurprisingly, my friend. The last one. Let's see what Lukashenko has to say. Russia Today, 14th of October. Russia's ally says it's ready for, quote-unquote, big deal with the United States of America. Any agreement with Donald Trump must take Belarus's interest into account, President Alexander Lukashenko has said. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko has announced that he is ready to secure a big deal with the US. In a meeting with senior officials in Minsk on Tuesday, he said that after recent contacts with President Donald Trump's envoys, Belarus is willing to meet certain global proposals from the US. And I'm quoting, but our interests must also be taken into account, and everything must be fair. No. The US has moved to reopen diplomatic relations with Belarus for purely pragmatic purposes. They need them. Our policy in resuming relations with the United States must also be built exclusively on Belarusian interests, Lukashenko said. All right, next one. KGB boss reveals details of talks with US KGB in Belarus. The Ukraine conflict and regional security are on the agenda, Ivan Tertel has told journalists. Now this guy looks like a spy to me. Right there. He wouldn't, how do you call that? He wouldn't come out of the crowd. Who's a spy here? Let me see. The bald guy with blue eyes looking like a snake. I think that's the guy. Here he is. Okay, Tertel, sorry. The Ukraine conflict is the primary issue on the agenda of the ongoing dialogue between Washington and Minsk. The head of the Belarusian Security Service KGB, Ivan Tertel, has told the journalist, "You got it? We can make a contribution to that." Tertel said, the Ukraine, we are those who understand both the Russian side and the Ukrainian side. Minsk could find consensus in this most difficult situation. Yeah, but you are considered bad by the good people, and they're considered good people by the good people. The two nations are looking for mutually acceptable solutions to issues in various fields, reach consensus on a number of topics, a pragmatic, rational approach based on national interest, according to the army, to the security chief. According to him, Donald Trump and Lukashenko are deeply invested in the dialogue. We have all the chances of reaching a breakthrough in relations with the US. Good. Lukashenko also said that it's a big deal. The developments came amid a thaw in relations between the US and Belarus following a period of heightened tensions under Trump's predecessor, Joe Biden. This is just pragmatic approach. That's it. The US likes pragmatism, except in case of Israel. But they're friends with the Arabs. They're friends with Saudi Arabia, with Pakistan. These are not democracies. But from a pragmatic point of view, they're our allies, man. They're our friends. From a pragmatic point of view, Israel should not be ally, just so you know. But it is. Why? What do you think? All right, next one. Tomahawk missiles. Talk of sending Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine is calculated Psy-Op to pressure Russia's leadership. And I'm going to tell you what this guy says. Not necessarily you have to agree with him, but I'm going to tell you what he says about a few things right here. Washington raises the stakes by hinting at sending Tomahawks to Russia. No Tomahawks have been sent or launched yet. Western media frenzy suggests a pressure tactic. Western media aligned with Washington hyped the story, discussing targets, launches, and control. The impression is that the missiles are already on their way. And this is what he says. The Tomahawk launcher might even be rolled out at the test range somewhere simply for PR videos, Mikhailov suggests. But it would be similar to the Taurus missiles Germany promised, hyped by the media yet still absent from Ukrainska. These are the Taurus missiles, just so you know. All right, if you didn't know. The Kremlin has repeatedly said Ukraine cannot launch Tomahawks on its own. Washington isn't suicidal. They tell you, if you do it, we're gonna strike you. And I'm quoting, every Tomahawk fired at Russia from the US-made system by American crews would mark the start of the war between the US and Russia. Mark the start of the war between US and Russia, according to this guy. The idea of US-made Tomahawk striking energy infrastructure inside Russia is a fantasy. Such an act would cross a red line that would trigger a response the US is 100% not ready for. Russia's updated nuclear doctrine explicitly states that a massive cruise missile attack, like a volley of Tomahawks, can be met with a nuclear response. Are the Americans ready to, and I'm quoting, collectively die for this? The expert is clear. I'm absolutely sure. No. What does the West want? The real target would be the shadow fleet moving Russian oil, according to the pundit. To that end, NATO holds provocative Baltic drills in the same way the pipelines were, and tries to seize Russian ships. The Nord Stream sabotage exemplifies economic attacks to choke Russia's energy exports abroad. All right, and right here, first container ship from China docks in US via Arctic shortcut and unlocking the potential of for the Northern Sea route. If these guys are going to release Tomahawk missiles over the Russian territories, the Russians said, we do not know if that particular missile carries a nuclear payload warhead or not. Tomahawks could be fitted with nuclear warheads. Therefore, the Russians said, we will consider each and every attack by these guys using Tomahawk missiles as a nuclear attack on us. Comprende? Fini? Koniec film. That's it. Alright, and now let me show you how this route that the Americans and the Europeans are taking a shit about. They're afraid, they're shaking in their quakers. Let me show you. Why? This is gonna cripple their efficiency. So what are these guys talking about? The use of Northern Sea Route is expected to boost freight turnover through Russian waters. Waters, you got it? The first Chinese container ship has completed a transit to Europe via the Arctic's Northern Sea Route, NSR. Russian state nuclear giant Rosatom announced on Tuesday. Backed by Russia's nuclear icebreaker fleet, the voyage nearly halved the shipping time compared to traditional southern routes. Halved energy, time, efficiency, according to Rosatom, which has a fleet of atomic icebreakers and operates in NSR. Russia has been developing the NSR, a transport corridor that runs through its Arctic and Far East regions and serves as the shortest shipping link between Europe and the Asia-Pacific region. The NSR is expected to become a major trout route and could drastically reduce transportation times compared to traditional pathways through the Suez or Panama canals. Alright, and this is what it does. The vessel arrived in Britain port of Felixstowe after 20-day transit from China's Ningbo. 20-day. The cargo ship with a total is scheduled The Arctic passage is being closely monitored by the global shipping industry as a faster alternative. A typical voyage via the Suez Canal, I'm going to show you, takes about 40 days, while the route around Africa's Cape of Good Hope takes approximately 50. So remember, it's 20 days, approximately 40, and 50. Let's go to the map. All right, bloop, bloop, there you go. So this is Europe. This is China right here somewhere. This is Russia. This is how it goes. If you go from this area, you have to go like this. Pizzica, maka, maka, falaka, tsiku, buku, fuku, luku, koporoko, meka, leka. You go here, you go through the Suez, the Red Sea, paka, pika, buku, buku. You go here and you go libalabalu, whatever it is. Okay, you go in. And after you go in through Suez Canal, you go in the Mediterranean and you go to the French, Italian ports if you want. Or you go Gibraltar, British by the way, but the Russians are the imperialists. Okay, these guys still have colonies. Anyway, and they can go to these guys, the baboons in England, right here, or they can go to the Netherlands, the biggest, port, all right, and which is right there, not Amsterdam by the way, and nevertheless it's Rotterdam right here. This is the biggest port of Europe, used to be, and I think still is. Look what's over there. You can see it from the airplane, which I did. Am I not fantastic? Yeah. So this is the right from here through here, right here. This is the this is the come on, Emil, take a shit already. Right. I don't know if they really go this way or to go. They're not gonna go this way. This is stupid to go over there. But nevertheless, this is 40 days. Right. This is 40 days. Now 50 days is going around here. So not going through the Suez, going around here to the Cape Horn. And then the other one is like this. Bering Sea, Bering Strait by the Americans, Klipa Klopa, this is Russian territory, Zupaluka Muka, and they end here. So this is 20, 40, 50. Right. And then I said the Panama Canal right here. If they want to go from here, cross the Pacific, go to the Panama, and then we don't even to consider that. So what's the problem with that one? What's the problem? Those ships are going to need the Russian icebreakers. The Russians have the biggest nuclear icebreakers in the world. And they have to break the ice for the baboons going over there. Do you think it's going to come for nothing? Or do you think the Americans are going to send their icebreakers over there? So that's the point. And that's a big imagine the time that is, obviously, if you're familiar with Taylorism, Taylorism is you take the production time, and each and every step you try to make it as efficient as possible by making it efficient. In this case, efficiency is distance and time. Efficiency, make it, instead of sending Amazon sending you, I don't know, some dildos from China in, I don't know, in 50 days or 40 days, you're gonna receive it in 20 days, man. Just kidding. All right, so you can play 20 days or 30 days ahead of the other shippings, man. It's gonna be a lot of days of. All right, if you think no, this is water. There you go. I know, from a crystal wine glass. So thank you very much for being with me again today. What are these guys gonna do? Do you think these guys are going to use a Tomahawk missile? Do you think they're going to use their submarines and have I don't know, something happen in the northern sea route? I give you, as I work with probabilities, actually do possibilities and probabilities. Possibilities, 100%. Probabilities, 99%. Have you heard the polls? Time out, stop the investigation. They might find out it was the good people. Don't worry. I tell you why. When the truth will be allowed to come out, will come out. This is what they're going to feed the baboons. You know, the hysteria is going to go down. They're going to say, yeah, but we had to. That was a way to stop Putin's war machine for destroying your way of life. Now you can paint your hair in pink, snip your balls, have fake teeth identify as whatever you want. You know, have whatever pronouns. We defended your way of life, Europe, by doing that. And the baboon's gonna say, yeah, we did it, yeah. I guarantee you that. Why? Human beings have a short attention span. Why? Unfortunately, that's how God made us. And we have other things to do, most of them. They don't have time like others to look around, learn, read, pay attention. They need time to make a living. They have other things to do, other priorities. It's not everybody has to be involved in politics. So those guys, when they're going to be fed up, they will always know. The school will teach the same garbage. Like they teach you that we had to drop 2 atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki because we had to shorten the war and save our boys' lives. And that's the way it's taught in American schools. Or the Cuban Missile Crisis, we won because we made Khrushchev, the Soviets, he blinked, we said, stop it or we're gonna smack you, and he stopped it. That's half of the story. Actually, just the middle. Not the beginning, not the end told, which is actually Khrushchev made the Americans take the nuclear warheads, the Jupiter missiles from Turkey. There were no nuclear missiles in Cuba. That's another lie they teach us. Oh, the Soviets, they call them Russians. The Russians deployed nuclear missiles in Cuba, but we told them what to do, and we said stop, and they blinked. America, bull. Okay, but hey, if you want to believe that, or you want to read about the Holocaust and other things in the Second World War, they're going to give you however they want to interpret the history. They will do it. And all countries do the same thing, unless you're a vassal state, which most of Europe is. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.